Japan's defense ministry has issued an open-ended intercept order for North Korean missiles to its military. According to Tokyo-based Kyodo news agency on Monday, for the next 3 months, the nation's self-defense forces have been ordered to shoot down any ballistic missiles heading towards Japanese territory. Kyodo adds the interceptor missile systems will be set to full defense readiness using Aegis with Standard Missile 3 and PAC-3 Patriot missiles. The intercept order comes after a North Korean missile landed within Japan's exclusive economic zone for the first time ever last week.
Justice Minister says more than 26,000 people have been detained in relation to the July 15th failed military coup attempt. He made the remarks on Turkish television. A faction of Turkey's armed forces attempted to overthrow the government last month, but their efforts failed when thousands of supporters of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan took to the streets to defy the coup attempt. Following the events, the government discharged over 15,000 employees from the Education Ministry and the Prime Minister's office.
This is home for Noor. Her family of 4 live in these quarters situated by the river.
I
have been living here for 60 years. I came to the city from my village when I was only 15 years old.
Nearly 30 million people live in slum areas across Indonesia, with little access to clean water and sanitation.
The situation in Yemen is becoming a complete human tragedy. It's the humanitarian crisis at the moment. The scale and scope of it is tremendous. If you just look at the figures alone, they're absolutely staggering. Currently, there's over 21 million people that need assistance, and that's 8 out of every 10 individuals. And if we break it down even further, it's 14 million people who do not have enough food to eat. 14 million people. Just the scope of it is amazing. So at the moment, the world has forgotten that the Yemen crisis is ongoing, and it's been now 500 days since the conflict started.
The Yemen director of the Norwegian Refugee Council says that the war had internally displaced some 2 million Yemenis. She appealed to the world leaders to urgently deal with the humanitarian crisis in Yemen. Back in March, the United Nations World Food Programme warned that more than half of Yemen's 26 million population was in need of food aid as a result of the war and Saudi Arabia's aerial and naval blockade of the country.
Around 50 protesters were shot dead by Ethiopian security forces as unrest over land rights deepens across the country's central Oromia region. The deaths come amid days of anti-government protests across 10 towns in the vast central region of Ethiopia. Protesters are demanding authorities reverse a decision to confiscate people's land. The demonstrators also want all detained opposition politicians to be released. The demonstration turned violent after police fired tear gas to disperse protesters. The months-long unrest comes amid government plans to confiscate farmland in the Oromia region surrounding the capital Addis Ababa for development plans. Authorities scrapped the plans, but unrest has persisted over the detention of demonstrators.
The storm's gone, but this is what's left. The rain caused floods and mudslides, damaging thousands of homes in the states of Veracruz and Puebla. And as the water recedes, the damage is becoming clearer. 8 of those killed came from just one family in this village.
One of them is my sister-in-law, along with her 9-month-old baby. And 2 nieces, Arlie and Miriam. My nephew, Tony, and Daniel and Elias.
One man lost 2 daughters and 6 other relatives.
We tried to get out, but I don't know. We couldn't get out. My wife and I tried to get out, but no. We tried to move the girls over there because they were wet, but we couldn't. The lights went out, and that is when we didn't know what hit the house.
The survivors are left to bury their loved ones, but some people are still unaccounted for. The Mexican army has been deployed to help. Soldiers are digging out buried homes and clearing roads. Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto promised to support people who've been affected.
California's latest wildfire has forced the evacuation of hundreds of people from their homes and threatened thousands more. Firefighters, aided by 16 aircraft, battled flames that spread across nearly 10 square miles on the northern side of the mountain range east of Los Angeles. Authorities said people in some 375 homes were ordered to evacuate the area, with about 5,000 more homes advised.
News: a massive wildfire tearing across the northern slopes of the San Bernardino Mountains. The fire has grown to almost 6,300 acres, and right now it's only 6% contained. The fire is burning between Silverwood Lake and Lake Arrowhead, fueled by tinder, dry brush, and trees devastated by our 5-year drought. Mandatory and voluntary evacuations are in effect at this hour for 5,200 homes.
Portugal has mobilized its forces to battle hundreds of ongoing wildfires across the country. That includes about 3,000 firefighters and more than 1,000 vehicles and 16 fire planes to extinguish at least 515 blazes all over the country. Police had detained a carpenter who allegedly set a forest in the northwestern city of Braga ablaze with a cigarette.
The Urubante Reservoir in western Venezuela. Look closely and it's soon apparent that this is not a creation of nature. It's the unfinished work of man. Eric Smora occasionally takes tourists around the lake. He's never seen it like this before.
This year, the reservoir is the lowest it has ever been. We've had the most severe drought, and it has lasted the longest.
The El Niño weather effect and the fact that the turbines this reservoir powers have been running at full capacity to compensate for nationwide electricity shortages is what's behind the dramatic drop in water levels. And it's led to this, the re-emergence from the depths of the town of Potosi, founded in the 19th century, underwater for most of the last 30 years.
As fast as water appears in the streets, it's swept away. Cleanup crews want to make sure mosquitoes don't make it their home. Mosquitoes that could be carrying the Zika virus. Mosquito Control spent Monday pulling up manhole covers in the streets and dropping insecticide pellets down the holes. There are now 17 confirmed cases of locally transmitted Zika, and the Department of Health says transmission is happening in the Wynwood area.
That Florida health officials are currently investigating another case of the Zika virus. The case comes out of Palm Beach County, and it seems that the transmission of the virus was local. Governor Rick Scott issues a statement on Monday confirming the report.
Pokemon Go is causing problems all over the globe. A popular augmented reality phone application is popping up in the most unwanted of locations. One such location is the Hiroshima Atomic Bomb Memorial. Loitering gamers are not appreciated in somber memorial-type locations. The city officials said, "We consider the park a sacred place where we pray for the victims of the atomic bombings." A ceremony was planned, and the city was hoping that everything went smoothly without unwanted virtual guests.
To the delight of thousands, dozens of giant Pikachus parade in Japan. The large yellow Pokemon characters bounced and bumbled down the street in the city of Yokohama. Those watching the parade also dressed the part. This year's event drew larger than usual crowds because of the current global Pokemon Go craze.
Yeah, he told me that there's a Pikachu festival, and I was just like, oh my god, I just have to come here and look at all the and like, this is exactly what I
More and more parents are opting for gender-neutral clothing for their babies. As CBS 2's Cindy Shoes shows us, blurring gender roles early may be beneficial in the long run.
Pink and pretty for girls, rough and tough for boys. For Haley Woods and a growing number of parents, they see clothes as an opportunity to help shape their kids.
Can you get dressed?
Woods tries to buy gender-neutral clothes, a term that's been gaining popularity.
We really need gender-neutral clothing to start at this age because we're building up on how to start dismantling, sexism and misogyny and all that stuff. And it really does start from this tiny building block.
Psychologist Dr. Jennifer Hartstein is the author of the book Princess Recovery, a how-to guide to raising strong, empowered girls. She says the key is not to put kids in gender-specific boxes, from what they wear to what's expected of them.
If we only look at girls as being cute and pretty, we really pigeonhole them, and we know that as they get older, it can develop into eating disorders and depression and anxiety.
This weekend it was the Pride weekend in Uganda as well, and the police raided the Pride and raided the event, And so it's really important to keep on celebrating, to keep on telling kids all around the world, you are beautiful, you are perfect, you are loved, love is love, and that's what is so important today.
Chances are your kids are heading back to school this month, but a new law may keep them from getting registered for class. CBS 2's Erica Nachman shows us what parents need to know about big changes when it comes to vaccinations.
And what school will he go to?
It's crunch time. Clinics and pediatricians' offices are packed as students line up to get required vaccines before school starts next week.
We've probably given 100 vaccines this morning.
But this year, there's a difference.
Parents, there is an important new law.
You may have seen this PSA. A new California law now means students can no longer get a personal belief or religious exemption as reason not to get their shots.
$15,000 employees from the Education Ministry and the Prime Minister's office.
This is home for Noor. Her family of 4 live in these quarters situated by the river.
I have been living here for 60 years. I came to this city from
Japan's defense ministry has issued an open-ended intercept order for North Korean missiles to its using Aegis with Standard Missile 3 and PAC-3 Patriot missiles. The intercept order comes after a North Korean missile landed within Japan's exclusive economic zone for the first time ever last week.
Justice Minister says more than 26,000 people have been detained in relation to the July 15th failed military coup attempt. He made the remarks on Turkish television. A faction of Turkey's armed forces attempted to overthrow the government last month, but their efforts failed when thousands of supporters of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan took to the streets to defy the coup attempt. Following the events, the government discharged over 50
military, according to Tokyo-based Kyodo news agency on Monday. For the next 3 months, the nation's self-defense forces have been ordered to shoot down any ballistic missiles heading towards Japanese territory. Kyodo adds the interceptor missile systems will be set to full defense readiness.